Welcome to the Laundry Room Lab.
Welcome to the chaos that I call the Laundry Room Lab. We've got printers running, we've got all sorts of stuff, but today what I want to talk about is fillers. So I've been doing a lot of big prints. You know, this is the size of that Deadpool build that I'm doing. I got another build coming up that's going to use a bunch of these textures. Now, the tough part is when you're doing a life-size build, you got to fill all these seams and stuff like that. So let's talk about it. We've got Bondo. Stuff's awesome. Bondo Spot and Glaze Putty. Really good for especially flat surfaces. But when you get to texture, this kind of stuff, you know, all the fun stuff, it's a pain in the butt because you lose a lot of that texture. Wood filler. This stuff is great, especially inside, because you don't really need like super crazy ventilation or anything like that. You can thin it out with water. Just good stuff. I use it for a bunch of stuff. But today what I want to talk about is resins. I know a lot of people use the UV putties and all that kind of stuff. I'm a dad, 4 kids. Broke ain't no joke. So I have actually figured out how to make that UV resin, the putty, like way cheaper than what they sell it in stores. So let's talk about it. First, some tools of the trade. Syringes are incredible. This is normal UV resin. You know, I use it for a bunch of stuff. That's same stuff you 3D print with, right? Hit it with a UV light, blah, 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 blah. It's hard already. Okay, maybe not. Hit it with a UV light. So let's talk about that. The outside of it's hard. When I hit it hard, the inside was not cured, right? So that's what is a big problem if you're trying to use normal UV resin to fill gaps and stuff. You want the whole thing cured. You don't want liquid resin left in your models, okay? Which, this is also 3D printing resin. Don't mind my ADHD-ness, because I'm sure a squirrel will run by here soon, and I'll get distracted. But this stuff's clear, right? Same thing, syringe. Great for like small local applications. Runs like water, you know, it runs into whatever. So if you're trying to fill a big gap, this stuff's gonna like get inside of that gap, which can be good, can be bad, but usually it's hard to like fill a gap if the stuff just keeps running through it or running off of it. But same idea. Heat it with a UV light, don't breathe this stuff in. I've got masks, I've got all sorts of stuff. Right now I'm in my paint booth, so it's sucking fumes out. But the thing about the clear UV resin is it's going to cure the stuff on the inside. So that's the runny stuff. It'll run all over the place, which is where this stuff comes into play. So this is the thick UV putty, as it's called on Amazon or wherever else. Like I said, I've learned to make this stuff. It's super clear. It's almost like Vaseline. But it's super clear, so the light gets all the way through it. And the biggest benefit to making it is you can make it as thick or as thin as you want it. So, I've got this little 3D print over here. Check it out. The thing about this, so the top one, that was some Bondo Spot and Glaze Putty. Threw it in there. Didn't sand it. Looks kind of like crap. I could obviously get my rotary tool out and bring all the details back. Pain in the butt. Which brings us to the bottom. Looks awesome. This is just UV resin out of this little Let's Get Surgical applicator there. My little syringe. But now you can notice over here, some of the details are a little flooded out. Not a huge deal on a life-size model, but if you're using it for like a mini or something, I could see that being a problem. Don't mind all this. I didn't even bother messing with that stuff. But right here in the middle, that's where this UV putty was used, right? I basically smeared it on, pushed it in the crack, and then I used my finger to wipe it off, and then I think I might have used a paper towel or something like that, and just literally wiped it off. But the thing is, it's so thick, it stayed in the cracks. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of hard to see. But it stayed where the gap was and wiped out of all the little cracks. I use this thing too, like to clear out a bunch of it, but super simple. No sanding, no spot filler putty, none of that. I just primed it. That being said, I use sandable primer on like everything. But this I didn't, just to see what it would do with layer lines, what it would do with all the details. But yeah, these are some textures from a build that's coming after Deadpool and Wolverine is finished. If you have any idea what those textures are from, throw it in the comments, because that's another life-size build that I'm going to have fun with. So take something like this. I got a hole here. This is from the Deadpool Wolverine build. Take my fancy little spot putty here. UV resin putty, whatever you want to call it. Take an itty bit. I'm sure most of y'all have seen this stuff on, you know, on YouTube or Facebook or wherever. So I got a little itty bit on there. I can take my finger and wipe off the excess, as long as you're wearing gloves. I don't suggest doing it without gloves. The stuff's clear, so it's going to cure all the way through. And then it's super simple. Look at this. But it never hardens. This is amazing. Like, you don't have to worry about your work time or any of that. Because when you want it to dry, it dries. You just hit it with a UV light. You don't look at the UV light, because that's supposedly bad for your eyes. But yeah, look at that. That's hard already. Like, they say to use it for like a minute or, I don't know, 30 seconds, minute. I usually probably cure it more than I should. But, you know, I'll hit it for 30 seconds or so. That stuff is harder than the print itself. If I printed this in resin, well, that'd be a different story. It would be just as hard as the rest of the print. But for right here, that little hole that I just filled, I mean, magical. 2 seconds, didn't have to wait, all that fun stuff. And I am super ADHD, so if I mention something more than once, I apologize. But one of the bigger benefits to this is making it yourself. You can make it as thin or as thick as you want. Like, this stuff is probably too thin for most applications. It's that 3D printing resin. I've used it a ton before I actually learned to make this stuff. But this stuff is super useful. So let's talk about the broke dad side of this here. 3D printing resin. This is literally clear 3D printing resin. It's this stuff. You know, it's same stuff that's in that syringe. Amazon has it. You can get it, I don't know, 20 bucks for a decent size, like, they use kilograms, which to me is still weird, but like 20 bucks, 25 bucks for a kilogram of, like, that's 1,000 grams. The bottle's like this big, right? It's a lot. But the magic sauce in this, and when you're playing with this stuff, wear a mask. Don't even think about opening the top of it without wearing a mask, because this stuff that I'm about to show you, it's so light that, like, when you first open it, poofs of clouds come out. And when you go to close it, same thing happens. Okay? So, I'm going to hold my breath here. Hopefully my fan does what it's supposed to do, but this stuff is crazy light. Cabosyl fumed silica additive filler creates a strong adhesive with a smooth texture, good for gaps and radial fills. Can be mixed with other fillers to create custom blends and improve sag resistance. That's exactly what we're doing. Imagine that. I mean, this stuff is crazy light. I mean, I don't know if you can see that. This is, it's like the fluffiest snow ever. There's actually particles. You probably can't see them, but I see particles flying around just from opening it. All right, so what we're going to do, check this out. I got this fancy little silicone thing because, well, cured resin doesn't stick to these fancy silicone things. They're super useful. This goes up to 100 milliliters or whatever. On the other side, we've got ounces. I'm only going to use a half an ounce. Okay, check this out. I got the measurements. Like, I do this a bunch, so I know what the measurements are. But I'm going to take this same 3D printing resin that you use online, Amazon, makes really cool clear prints. If you want, comment your favorite brand in the chat or in the comments. That's cool. You know, I have my favorites. I'm not going to mention them now, but so we're almost there. We're talking a half an ounce, right? Half an ounce. That is not a lot. Okay, so to get this consistency, it's like 2 tablespoons full. Okay, so I'm going to start with 1 tablespoon. You can see, oh man, it's flying like dust. So, you see this? Crazy, crazy. Okay, so tablespoon 1. Get it in there. Make sure you're wearing your mask, because even stirring this stuff, wait till you use it. It's crazy. Super, super airy. Just, it floats around. Little silicone sticks, because they don't stick to anything. And then I'm just going to take this and mix it in. So this is only 1 tablespoon. 2 tablespoons gets you closer to that putty consistency. The biggest benefit to this stuff, like, it's white in the bottle. As soon as it's mixed with that resin, it's clear. It clears right up. It's not like baby powder. Like, a lot of people use baby powder, and I've used it. It worked great. You mix baby powder with UV resin, and you can make something very, very similar. This stuff dries way more thoroughly. Like, it actually dries all the way into, I don't know. I should do some testing and see how thick I can get it to cure. But, I mean, I've had some in the bottom of these things that crazy thick, and I cure it before I throw it out, if I'm going to throw it out. You know, if I get something in it or if it's just gone bad. It's so easy to make now and so cheap to make that I don't really hesitate to cure it and get rid of it if I want to. But even this, like, super thick. I mean, not as thick as that stuff, obviously. But I've only added 1 tablespoon. So if you want thicker than that, but thinner than that, you can do it. Like, you can see this bottle? This thing, I want to think it was like $10 on Amazon. So, yeah, $10 plus the 20 or whatever for 25 maybe for clear resin, 30 if you get the good stuff. And you can make something like this. I don't know. This is more like a runny snot. Let's see. But it doesn't spread out as fast as that. So you can make like dripping stuff or whatever you want, but same thing. Cure it. I don't know if you can see that smoking. It's actually getting sucked out really well by my fan. But it's super, super clear. So it does actually harden all the way through. I moved my hand out because I didn't want the light to hit it while it's in that little silicone thing. Because I'm gonna mix some more into this. Okay, so what I was saying is yeah, sorry, my battery died. But what I was saying, it does get hot when you cure it. So if you use it on PLA, just be careful because it can melt the PLA. I haven't had any big issues with it, but it's a possibility, right? So when my battery died, I added another scoop of that. So we're now on 2 scoops. Haven't mixed it yet. But I did add another scoop. Sorry for the little skip in the video. But here we go. So now, second scoop, 2 tablespoons. Look at this. We're getting to like a Vaseline consistency. Mix it up real good. Yes. Look at that. There's still some powder in there. Thank goodness for this fan, because I would hate to talk to y'all through a respirator. So, and it is pulling it throughout the fan. I can actually see it going out. But now we're talking like a Vaseline consistency. This is what I use probably the most. Because it stays where you put it. You can move it around. I mean, it's cool stuff. But you can obviously make it thicker. So it's super sticky. It's not something you're going to like roll up into a ball and put on whatever, at least at this consistency. But yeah, it sticks to like everything. It does wipe off, and you can use alcohol just like you would normal resin to clean it off if you want to. But you get this kind of cool, I don't know, it's like frosting. Yeah, a cool little frosting consistency. And the stuff is super hard. It sticks like glue. It's great. But take something like this, I don't know. Obviously it's not glued together or anything like that, but so we've got this little corner here. I don't know if you can see the gap there, but I'm going to take some of this stuff, you know, just a little whoop, and like, I don't know, smear it in there. We'll get a little more, or a lot more, and we'll just mash that in there. Right? Making cracks disappear. Getting rid of the cracks. Okay, so like, I've got a lot of that in there. There's quite a bit in there. I'm going to set this down over here. I'll grab me a piece of paper towel right here. I don't know if it works with this stuff. I'm sure it probably does. But there's a bunch of videos on the stuff you buy on Amazon or whatever that say you can actually like really smooth it out just using something dipped in alcohol. I'm not trying to do that right now, but use a gloved finger to get whatever out, right? So there's all these little details, all of them, like little teeny tiny stuff that I don't want to lose. So this stuff comes into play. This is the stuff I just mixed. There's the other stuff. They're about the same. That one's a little thicker, but they're about the same. So now, hit it with that light. Like I said, it dries pretty quick. I'll hit it for that 30 seconds or whatever that they suggest. And you can go back and sand after and all the fun stuff with all the other fillers. But I don't know that you really have to with this. Sitting there, letting that cure. Get some of this primer. The airbrush primer. We're talking thin. So if there's any cracks or anything like that, this stuff is so thin you'll see every little minuscule. I've got brushes all over the place. Let's just get this one. All right, so we got some airbrush primer. Just gonna get some of that and let's see what it does. Paint sticks great to this stuff. I mean, it's just like resin. Primer sticks to it really well. Yeah, so we'll just slap that stuff on there. I'll probably hit it with another coat of primer. If you use filler primer, I mean, you might lose some of your detail, but that crack will be completely gone. This is already glued together. It's that little bit that I put on there was enough to, but we'll look at that in a minute once that one tiny layer of primer cures. So yeah, so I mean, look at it. That's Vaseline consistency. Let's get crazy. I haven't mixed a ton of this in. I usually stick to 2, and I mean, that's beautiful for what I need it for. But let's see what a third one does. I get the feeling it's just going to get really thick. Whether it's usable, I don't know. I'm sure it's probably going to be a pain. This stuff's so fluffy. Oh, like snow. Did you see it fly all over the place? All right. So it is getting harder to mix just because it's not as liquidy. But it's, yeah, I don't know, more of a clay consistency. That might be a good thing. It looks like it is losing some of its opacity though, so I don't know if I have to do some testing, like after 3 tablespoons. So I got a Magic here. She's my little, this one was a misprint, so I'm not super worried about it. But check out this huge gap right there. Let's see what we can do with it with this. Look at that. It's just, and it's almost sculptable. Like, granted, I have resin and stuff all over my, oof, look at that cloud of snow. Squirrel. Let's get this on top of there before. Oh. Okay. So now back to Magic. So check this out. Like, it's actually somewhat sculptable. Like, I mean, and that was a big gap in her hair. I'd have probably, honestly, I don't want to say probably, actually did just reprint her head because of the layer shifts that were in this one. But yeah, so check that out. We'll just fill that up right there. Not losing a ton of detail. Look at that. I get all my detail back. Mind you, I'm doing this like, I don't want to say half-ass, but half-ass. And then hit it with the light. Yeah, look at all the chunks in there. This one would probably take some sanding after that job I just did. But, I mean, you can get surgical with the stuff. You can use the silicone tools and sculpt it out however you want it and whatnot. But I mean, that's resin on resin. Filled that big old crack up. Little sanding, little paint. Beautiful. Primer's still drying, but I mean, the cracks are gone. They're gone. The detail's still there. Does need another layer of primer because I just slapped it on, but I should put it on a microscope so you could actually see it. I mean, it's pretty stiff. Like, that side's not, because I didn't glue that side, but so hopefully, you know, this will help somebody out there that needs that UV resin filler. I'm super ADHD, so I don't want to wait for anything. I want it done now. And that's one of the things that's helped me do that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, if you learned something, if you're going to make your own, shoot me a message. That's cool. I'd love for you to like and subscribe. I just started this YouTube channel. I plan on doing a whole lot more. I do some fun builds, bunch of life-size stuff, a lot of miniature painting. But if you like what I'm doing, shoot me a like, subscribe to the channel, hit me up on Facebook or wherever else, and I'll see you in the next one.